Imagine you had a time machine, a single jump to any point in the past or the future. Where would you go? To which day? To which decision you wish you could undo? That question echoes again and again through the finale of Better Call Saul, and it isn't just a nice line. It's the load-bearing structure of the entire episode. The final hour, Saul Gone, is built like a piece of clockwork, where every cog, every frame, every cut, every shade of gray, every pause works toward a single idea. So today, we're going to take that mechanism apart piece by piece. How the screenplay is written, how the shot is photographed, how the scene is edited, how the direction turns a courtroom drama into a tragedy of Greek proportions. Not what the finale is about, but how it's made, because the answer to why it's a masterpiece is hidden precisely in how it's made. Let's start with what the finale accomplishes on the level of pure dramaturgy. Saul Gone was written by Peter Gould and Vince Gilligan, and its structure is not a linear story but a montage of 3-time layers.
Take $6 million and build a time machine.
The present, the arrest and the trial, and 3 flashbacks stitched into it with surgical precision. The brilliance is that all 3 flashbacks hang on the same dialogue hook, the question about a time machine.
What would you do if you had a time machine?
Screenwriters call this device a rhyme. The same line recurs across different scenes, and each repetition adds a new layer of meaning. The first flashback is Mike in the desert. The second is Walter White in the basement of the vacuum cleaner man. The third is Chuck, lit by a kerosene lamp. 3 interlocutors, 3 answers to one question, and each answer characterizes not so much the speaker as Jimmy himself, the man who keeps asking it. Watch how precisely the script distributes its roles. Mike answers with the day he took his first bribe, then corrects himself.
Day I took my first bribe.
He'd go back just to watch over his son. That's the answer of a man who has made his peace. The past can't be fixed.
There's some people I'd like to check on in 5 or 10 years.
And for him, a time machine is about memory, not repair. Walter, on the other hand, refuses to play it all. A chemist, he irritably shuts the conversation down.
You are talking about regrets.
And he immediately deflects to gray matter, the company he built and walked away from. That's the answer of a man who has regrets, but will never admit fault. To the very end, he'll blame anyone but himself. And then Walt turns the question back, and the script puts a line in Jimmy's mouth that weighs a ton.
I actually hurt myself. My knee's never been the same.
So you were always like this.
So you were always like this.
But within the structure of the episode, they work as self-definition. As a verdict, the hero passes on himself. And this dramatic rhyme about the time machine reaches its climax in the 3rd flashback, where Chuck speaks the central line of the entire series. If you don't like where you're heading, there's no shame in going back and changing your path.
There's no shame in going back and changing your path.
And on Chuck's table lies a book, The Time Machine. The script doesn't present this object in a triumphant close-up. It simply places it in the frame as a prop. And there's the restraint of a master. The detail rewards those who notice it and doesn't get in the way of those who miss it. That's what a well-built screenplay is. The thematic statement is sewn not into a monologue, but into the architecture, into the fact that 3 scattered scenes from different years answer one question, and the answers form a staircase from acceptance through denial to the one correct choice.
Then I come back here, and I'm a billionaire. Is there such a thing as a trillionaire?
Now, the camera. And here, the finale does the kind of work that makes the cinematographer's craft worth studying. The show's central visual device is the separation of its time layers by color. The past in Albuquerque is shot in a warm, golden, sun-bleached palette. And the present, Gene Takovich's life in Omaha, is a washed-out, high-contrast black and white. The cinematographer Marshall Adams and the camera team use monochrome not as a noir affectation, but as a dramatic instrument. The black and white here is a visual diagnosis. This is what's left of a man who spent his whole life chasing the loud and the bright. Grayness, flat light, a world drained of color. Notice how the light is built in the black and white scenes. High contrast, hard shadows, the hero's figure often pinned in a corner of the frame or sliced by lines. Door frames, bars, window frames. The composition literally cages him. This is what film language calls a visual prison.
And for these offenses, the government's sentencing recommendation.
Long before the real bars appear, the camera locks the hero behind bars of light and geometry. And when, in the very finale inside the real prison, the black and white image suddenly fills with softness, the light becomes diffuse, the shadows gentle, we understand the palette hasn't changed, the man inside it has. The same monochrome that was cold and hostile at the start of the episode becomes almost warm at the end. That's a cinematographic statement made without a single word. And separately, the work with long lenses and depth of field. In key scenes, the show favors long focal lengths that compress space and isolate the hero from the background. And conversely, wide shots of the desert where a man becomes a tiny speck under an enormous sky. This play of scale, from a grain of sand figure in the desert to a silhouette crammed into a corner in Omaha, visually states the theme. A man who spent his whole life trying to be big was, in the face of consequences, always small. Let's talk about staging, about how the direction arranges people in space. In the negotiation with the prosecutors, Saul sits across from the feds, and the camera holds him in a position of power, low, tilting the figure slightly upward, making him larger than his interlocutors. He's rewriting his own story on the fly.
With a gun pointed at my head. That was my introduction to Walter White.
He was a meek high school chemistry teacher. I was terrified for my life.
I was terrified.
And the blocking plays along. Saul leans forward, owns the table, gestures. He's the master of the room. You read it visually before you parse a single line. This is a man in control.
Another word.
Your Honor, I believe the court deserves the whole truth.
Now compare that with the courtroom. After Jimmy turns and begins to tell the truth, the direction changes the whole geometry. The camera shifts to restrained, almost motionless shots. More and more the hero is shot frontally, face into the lens, a device that breaks the fourth wall and forces the viewer to look the hero straight in the eye. It's a very deliberate choice. In the moment of the con, he's dynamic, and in profile, in the moment of truth, he's static and facing us. Form follows content. And the key element of the finale's staging is Kim in the courtroom. The direction constantly keeps her in frame or on the reverse. We see Jimmy, then her reaction. The whole confession scene is cut as a dialogue of two gazes, though they never say a word to each other. When Jimmy says the most terrible thing about his brother, about Chuck, the edit cuts to Kim.
I took away the one thing he lived for, the law.
And we understand who this monologue is really being spoken for. Not the judge, not the prosecutors. Her alone. Blocking and editing convey this without a single hint in the dialogue.
Fact is, Walter White couldn't have done it without me.
The finale's editing is a masterclass of its own. And the main thing it does is control time. Look at how the transitions between flashbacks and the present are cut. They aren't separated by title cards reading 10 years earlier. The scenes are stitched associatively by a line, by an object, by a movement. A question about a time machine asked in one time seems to pull an answer out of another. The editing works not by chronology, but by meaning. The episode assembles itself out of pieces of the past exactly when they're needed to understand the present. It's a montage of thought, not a montage of events. Now the rhythm. In the negotiation with the prosecutors, the cuts are frequent. The dialogue flies, Saul fires off arguments. The tempo is comedic, almost a verbal ping pong. He knocks 100+ years down to 7, haggles for ice cream on his birthday.
During incarceration, defendant Goodman to receive 1 pint Bluebell mint chocolate chip ice cream every Friday for the duration.
And the edit sustains that thrill, never letting the viewer catch a breath. In the confession scene, it's the opposite. The shots lengthen, the cuts thin out, the pauses between lines grow longer. The editor deliberately slows time down. When Jimmy says, "I was more than a willing participant, I was indispensable."
I was more than a willing participant. I was indispensable.
That line is followed not by a quick reverse shot, but by a held pause. The edit lets the line settle. This contrast of rhythm is the dramaturgy. Fast cutting equals the con, the lie, the familiar juggling. Slow cutting equals the truth, which comes hard. And the crowning piece of editing work is the final circle. The last scene with the cigarette is cut to rhyme with the very first episodes of the series, where Jimmy and Kim shared a single cigarette in the underground parking garage. The same angle, the same pose against the wall, the same gesture. The edit closes a composition 6 seasons long with one visual rhyme. It's what in music is called a reprise, the return of the opening theme in the finale, but now with a different meaning. People talk about the finale's sound design less than they should, and that's a shame. The main sonic device here is the absence of sound. The finale is nearly devoid of triumphant music in its climaxes. The confession scene plays almost on clean courtroom sound. Rustles, breathing, creaks. The writers and the director deliberately remove the musical crutch exactly where another show would drown everything in an orchestra. That silence lays bare the actor's performance and forces the viewer to lean in. The emotion isn't imposed by music. It arises in a vacuum, and so it hits harder. And here's where sound works at full force. Better Call Saul on the prison bus. The inmates recognize James McGill and start chanting his old advertising slogan.
Better Call Saul!
Better Call Saul. The sonic irony is flawless. The man has just renounced Saul Goodman in court, spoken his real name.
The name's McGill. I'm James McGill.
And the world, deafeningly in chorus, hands the mask back to him. There's no escaping Saul, even behind bars. His fame rings louder than his truth. Here, the sound carries a thematic load no weaker than a monologue. And note the work with diegetic sound in the flashbacks. The click of a lighter. The hum of an air conditioner in the basement. The wind in the desert. These textures ground the scenes, make the memories tangible. The show is famous for its sound design, hypertrophied everyday noises that turn routine into suspense. In the finale, that signature works on contrast. The quieter and more mundane the sound, the louder the inner drama. The finale was directed by Peter Gould, co-creator of the entire universe, the man who invented Saul Goodman back on Breaking Bad. And his main directorial choice is the courage to slow down. There was a temptation to end loud, a shootout, an escape, a spectacular death. The whole Breaking Bad universe had trained the viewer to expect explosions and blood. Instead, Gould chooses intimacy. The climax of the series is not action, but a man who voluntarily gives up the deal of his life and tells the truth in a quiet courtroom. 86 years instead of 7, and the direction presents that trade not as a catastrophe, but as a liberation.
86 years.
Watch how the confession scene is staged on the level of acting. Bob Odenkirk plays the subtlest transition. At the start of the monologue, he's still Saul, slick, playing the victim with the familiar dodge in his voice. And then, after looking at Kim, he literally changes register right there in the frame. The practiced showman's intonation drops away. A crack appears. His voice sinks.
I took away the one thing he lived for, the law.
And when he says the name, "My name is James McGill,"
The name's McGill. I'm James McGill.
it's already a different man speaking. The direction lets that transformation happen in one continuous take, not hiding it behind cuts. We watch Jimmy emerge out of Saul. That's trust in the actor and in the viewer, staging of the highest order. And the final tableau, the goodbye at the prison fence. Gould stages it with utmost economy. No sobbing, no embraces. They share a single cigarette. She leaves, he follows her with his eyes through the fence and makes their old gesture, the finger gun. She turns and answers in kind. That's all. The direction refuses any pressure. And it's precisely this restraint, the directorial will not to milk the emotion, that makes the scene devastating. The title deserves its own appreciation. The episode's name, Saul Gone, is a layered pun that can't be rendered in a single word. It's Saul Gone. Saul has left. There is no more Saul. It's a near homophone of so long, farewell. And it's almost all gone. It's over. Nothing remains. A single title packs in 3 meanings of the finale at once: the disappearance of the Saul Goodman mask, the farewell to the hero and to the viewer, and the emptiness of a life lived. That's a level of writing on which even the episode's title is not a label but a part of the artistic statement. Only top-tier writers work like that. The acting and the direction do here what a weaker script would have spelled out in words. The man couldn't become a monster all the way, and it's precisely this crack that sets the whole road to the courtroom in motion. A word is due about what, in the end, holds everything together, the acting, and how the direction photographs it.
I'll see you tomorrow, Chuck. And I might have the Financial Times.
In the finale, Bob Odenkirk essentially plays 4 characters in one body: Jimmy, Saul, Gene, and the James McGill emerging through all of them. The mastery is that he switches between them, not with makeup or costume, but with physicality and voice. Saul holds his back straight and rattles on. Gene stoops and speaks softly. And in the moment of truth, both fall away, and what remains is a man with a tired, open face. The direction shoots the climactic monologue in long takes without saving cuts, precisely because it trusts the actor to carry that transformation live, before the viewer's eyes. Rhea Seehorn, as Kim, is silent for nearly the entire courtroom scene, and it's her strongest scene. The whole performance lives in the eyes. The camera keeps returning to her face, and we read everything in it: disbelief, recognition, pain, and finally something like pride. The directorial decision to build a climax on the reaction of a silent character is a risky one, and it works only with this level of acting precision. The finale trusts the close-up more than any dialogue, and their final scene with the cigarette is an acting duet with no words at all. The whole history of their relationship, 6 seasons of love and guilt, is played by 2 people leaning against a wall and one gesture of the fingers. It's the peak of what's called economical acting, maximum meaning with minimum means. And one more technical layer that's easy to miss: the work with props.
What would you do if you had a time machine?
A time machine?
The whole series is built on speaking objects, and the finale gathers them into a system. The cigarette is the chief of them. In the pilot, Jimmy and Kim share one in the garage. In the finale, they share one in prison. The same object at the beginning and the end closes a 6-year arc without a single word. The book, The Time Machine, on Chuck's table, is an object that voices the episode's theme without drawing attention to itself. Even the finger gun gesture works as a prop, an intimate code between 2 people that in the finale means both goodbye and I'm with you at once. This is a level of writing on which objects carry no less weight than lines. A good screenwriter conveys information with words. A great one distributes it across objects, light, and pauses so the viewer feels the meaning before he grasps it. And one last technical breakdown: the turn in the courtroom itself, because it's a textbook point of no return from the standpoint of the screenwriting craft. The writers build the scene on a subversion of expectation. The setup: everything is going to Saul's plan. A sweet 7-year deal? He even arranges for Kim to be summoned to the room because he wants her to witness his triumph.
I just wanted her to come here today. I wanted her to hear this.
The viewer waits for the con of the century. Saul starts talking, and at first he really does play the victim, pinning it all on Heisenberg again. The hook is set. We think we know where the scene is going. And then, a 180-degree turn, executed with one look at Kim, and a shift of tone, Saul drops the legend and, under oath, begins to sink himself. I was indispensable.
I was indispensable.
From a dramaturgical standpoint, this is the perfect reversal. The hero, with his own hands, destroys the very thing he'd been chasing the entire episode. The price of the choice is utterly concrete. 7 years turn into 86. The script gives him no retreat, softens no blow. And crucially, he goes beyond legal necessity. He speaks about Chuck, about the guilt for his brother's death, though no one forced his hand. It's precisely this extra step, unnecessary to the plot but necessary to the man, that turns a legal scene into a tragedy. Great dramaturgy always lies in the hero doing more than he has to, and paying for it himself. Let's put it all together. Why is this not just a good finale, but a masterpiece on the level of craft? First, because here form and content have fused completely. The finale's theme, regret and the impossibility of undoing the past, is expressed not through lines but through the very structure. 3 flashback rhymes, a montage of thought, a dramaturgy of color. When the artistic statement is sewn into the manner of telling, rather than spoken aloud, that is the highest form of filmic writing. Second, because the finale solves a fantastically hard dramatic problem. This is a prequel. From the very start, we know how the hero's fate will end. And the script finds a way out. It shifts the question from what will happen to him to who will he choose to remain. Fate as event was known. Fate as choice was not. The entire machinery of the episode, from structure to the final gesture, works toward that turn. Third, because every department works toward a single idea. The cinematographer cages the hero in the geometry of light. The editing slows time in the moment of truth and speeds it up in the moment of the lie. The sound bears the climax with silence and ironizes it with the Better Call Saul chorus. The direction forgoes loud effects in favor of one continuous actor's transition. It's a rare case where every means of expression points at one spot, without a single idle move. And fourth, because the finale has the courage to deny cheap catharsis. No rescue, no escape, no happy ending. The hero is in prison forever. And yet it's the brightest of all possible finales, because for the first time, a man named James McGill lives honestly. And all the technique of the episode, all its cinematographic, editorial, directorial craftsmanship, exists so that this quiet, almost unbearable thought reaches the viewer without pressure. Breaking Bad showed how masterfully you can film a good man's turn into a bad one. Better Call Saul did something technically even harder. It filmed the reverse motion, the turning back, and did it so quietly that the silence hits harder than any explosion. You don't need a time machine. You can turn back right now. And the whole arsenal of cinema in this finale is assembled to prove exactly that thought. And if this isn't a masterpiece, then I don't know what could be called one at all. So what do you think? Which device of the finale hit you hardest? The editing rhymes, the black and white color, or that deafening silence in the courtroom? Let me know in the comments. Drop a like if you watched to the end, and subscribe. There are many more breakdowns of the greatest shows ahead.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hi.